regular people are turning single family profits into commercial wealth. This is something that is near and dear to my heart that I have not talked publicly about up until now. I haven't gotten to the details of it. This is going to be a new kind of program we are putting together. So I want you guys to follow along, take notes. Some of this stuff may make sense. Some of it may seem a little bit off. If it doesn't, if you don't understand, then just simply ask a question in the chat and I'll be sure to address it and we can go to it from there. So let me get this last piece set up. Where am I at? QR codes. Oh, there it is. All right. Okay, we are good to go. All right. So again, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Art, along with my wife Aisha. We have been real estate investors for over 20 years. We buy literally, we've done everything. We've done rentals, we've done rent to own, we've done subject to, we've done wholesaling, we've done fix and flip, we've done the Burr method. We've done a lot of different stuff. At times it wasn't called that stuff when we started, but we've done a lot of different things. And we did not find success until we kind of got going in a very specific, but once we found success, we were able to snowball that into doing some really big things. And it's been a really fun ride. And I haven't talked publicly about all the stuff that we do, mainly because when we started off, investing, when we started off teaching people about our investing specifically, I didn't want to bombard people, and I wanted to kind of make sure we had everything together and we gave a good service and a good product that people could see. So that's how we kind of got started. But let's get into this. All right. So let's talk about the big problem that goes along with investing. This is something that I've seen in my entire career. It's something that comes up all the time, and that is what happens with most investors. Everybody says they want to get into real estate. Everybody wants to get started, make really good money. That's the whole thing. And when they get started, when they get into real estate, the problem becomes a couple of things. One, a lot of people stay trapped in flipping or renting single family homes. So they start off flipping and renting single family houses, and they get in and they just never get out of that. And I'll explain why that happens. What happens a lot of times is you start off with single family houses, and you start off with this idea in your head. Maybe you've watched a TV show, you've seen somebody that you know that's been successful with it, and you start thinking to yourself, man, if I could just buy these houses and rehab them, I'll make really good money. And that's what everybody thinks. And it doesn't happen that way. It's very slow and cumbersome to flip houses. And the same thing with rental property. Rental property is slow. You do make money with it. Don't get me wrong. You can make money with rental property. But a lot of times what happens is that money is slow to come by. You cannot get rich making $700 a month from a rental property, even if you buy 5 of them. By the time you buy 5, you're going to have so many problems with the first one and then the second one. And it just gets, the more you multiply the properties, the more difficult it gets. Cash flow on these is slow, which stops growth. If I had a choice between how somebody would pay me, if they said, I'm going to give you $20,000 a year, and I'm going to, or let's say $30,000 a year, and I'm going to give it to you spaced out over 12 months and give it to you every week, or I'm going to give you in one lump sum. I would much rather have it in one lump sum, because spaced out over several weeks or several months and then weeks and all that is going to be enough for me to survive. It's going to be enough for me to buy some groceries or whatever and basically keep living. But if you give me $30,000 in one lump sum and I can work with that, now I have options. Now I can make investments. Now I can take it and try to make something more of it. And that's one of the problems with rental property. You don't get that lump sum. I used to have a retail store at one point, and the retail store made money, but the problem with it is that it made a couple of $100s a day. And that may sound like that's great money, but it's not enough for you to do anything different. And it becomes very difficult. Okay. The other thing that's a problem with real estate specifically when you do these kind of strategy is your equity is trapped or it's too slow to access. For years, I was a millionaire on paper. I was a millionaire on paper for years because I had, let's say, $1 million, $2 million worth of real estate. And I had all this money in real estate. But if I had to go buy a cheeseburger, I had to figure out where I was going to get the money for the cheeseburger, because you can be dirt rich and cash poor. And if you're flipping houses, a lot of times that's what happens. You have these big swings. You flip a house and you make $80,000 and you're living high. 2 months later, you're like, I need to find a deal. And you're struggling because you spent all the money and now you got to go right back to it. So it's kind of a catch-22. The same way with rental houses, you can make, $1,500 or $3,000 a month. It's enough to keep you going, but it's not enough for you to actually do anything with it. And we're going to get around that, but that's a big problem. That's why a lot of people can't grow. The other thing is, if you've never flipped before, flipping is a lot of work. Running rental property is a lot of work. And I know some people are going to say, well, I got property managers. If you build any kind of portfolio of any size, when you have property managers, you got to manage the managers, and you got to make sure that they're not nickel and diming you to death, because they will. So it's a lot of work. It's not enough wealth. What I'm going to talk to you about tonight is a process that we use to generate generational wealth and money for today. The problem with all of this is that it never gives you the money to jump to commercial. You never get enough money to jump to commercial. And there's two things you need from that to get to commercial. And one is consistency. You need consistent money. I don't care how it comes. You need consistent, but you need large lump sums. If you can get both of those, you can jump to commercial much better. So let's talk about a faster way to do this. One, new strategies are needed for building wealth. The same old, same old. Back in the day, 20 years ago, you could buy rental property and own a couple of rental properties. It would cover your mortgage, cover your bills, and you could live off the rental property. Inflation has killed that. You have to charge a ridiculous amount, and it will only put a dent in your bills. What we do, and what we feel that everyone should do, is use residential deals to quickly fund your commercial deals. The reason I say that is because residential, in my opinion, is not an investable asset. It's not something you should hold for long term. You should not buy residential property and then just hold on to it for 20 years. If you do that, you're going to struggle, and you're never going to get the money the way you actually want to get it. And it's going to be a pain in the butt. But you can buy it and then quickly sell it and lump sums of cash, and then use that cash to invest and grow into commercial. And then commercial will pay you a consistent role, because on the difference, commercial will pay you $7,000 a month. And that's a consistent pay that you can then still do the single family and still ramp up cash. But now you've got commercial making you a regular lump sum, and you can do it with pre-tax money if you set it up correctly. Okay, so that's some of the differences that you'll see with commercial, making a business of combining the two, buying and selling residential, and then taking that money and putting it into commercial. Okay, now the other benefit is you don't have to save for 20 years to do it. You don't have to save up. I know everybody says saving is important, and saving is important, but it's not the only thing you should focus on. It's not the only thing you should put your energy into. You should be actually building on your own and being able to take lump sums and work quick. Saving doesn't do that. You can save, great, that's wonderful, but it's not the way to get wealthy. A clear system that multiplies profits and not cap them. What we want to do is multiply our profits. We want to put our money to work. We do not want to take our money, and if it takes you 3 months to make a check and then you can't get to the next check, then you're just basically living off of the leftovers. Where if we can consistently bring in that money, we can actually grow it into a real business and expand from there. Okay. Now, the best way to do this that I found is not investing on your own in commercial. Commercial can be big and intimidating. What I like to do, and what the reason I'm setting up this call tonight, is because I want to build a community that is all aiming at the same goal. We are all trying to go to the same, we're rowing in the same position, if that makes sense. We're doing all of that in the same position, and we're buying commercial together. We're doing our residential business together. We're buying into commercial together, and we're building generational wealth. We've got money today from the residential. We've got money going into the future from commercial. Okay, that's the plan that we're working on. So let me tell you, for those of you that don't know our story, this is me and my wife, Aisha. I'm Art. This is me and my wife, Aisha. We use a process we call Quick Turn, and I'll tell you a little bit about how we discovered Quick Turn. We started like most people. We bought a bunch of rental properties. I came out of college, and I had some money, and I'll tell you a secret. Some of my money came from student loan money that I had left over, but I had some money. I saved a lot, and I had some money, and I started buying property, and it was slow progress. We bought a rental property, and we made a little bit. I said, let's buy another one. We refinanced. We were doing the Burr method, refinancing and buying another one and another one. We accumulated 36 properties in 3 years. And it sounded like, if you had talked to my friends in college and talked to me, people that we had gotten out of college with, they would have said, Art and them are on their way. They are doing all right. And they don't even have jobs. They're doing it with investments. The truth was, we were struggling. We were struggling with the money because it wasn't enough for our lifestyle that we wanted. We were struggling with managing the tenants, which was a pain in the butt. We were struggling with rehabbing the houses. It was a lot. We did rehabs, we did rentals, we did wholesales, we did rent to own. We did every strategy we could think of trying to make it work. Finally, we decided to sell off our rentals. After a couple of years, we decided to sell off our rentals. And what we learned to do eventually was we learned, after we tried wholesaling, we tried fix and flip, we learned to buy equity to make more money and move faster. You can buy equity, okay? And when you do that, when you buy equity, you're going to earn a lot more money and it's not as much work. And if somebody had told me this early on, I would have made even more money. And now we help other people do the same without wasting time. You can take the 15 years or 12 years it took me to figure this out, or you can learn from somebody else. It's like learning to make a cake. I can give you the ingredients and you can try to figure it out and it takes you forever, or you can follow a quick recipe and do exactly what the recipe tells you and have a beautiful cake in an hour. Okay, it's just about speed and what it's worth. So all of you all that say, well, I don't know if I need coaching or I don't know if I need mentorship. I was losing money. Right. Yes, I see that. When I got my first rental property, I was renting to anyone and I was losing money left and right. That's the story. And that's what nobody talks about. And everybody thinks you're rich because you got all these properties or you got property. That's the crazy thing about it. People don't realize what it actually is. You don't have to figure all that out. We can show you a better way. So let's talk about the shift that happened and how we got it. Let's talk about the slow grind versus the fast track. The old way of doing real estate, especially residential real estate, now I'm specifically talking about residential for right now, but there's a reason for that, and I'll get to it in a second, versus the new way of quick turn real estate. So the old way was to flip or rent for small cash and hopefully make a profit and make enough money to keep going. The new way is to buy equity and leverage that. Leverage it into bigger investments immediately. It's a very safe investment. And what I mean by that is you can very clearly see what you're going to sell the property for. Now, you might be off by a couple of thousand, but you're going to make money when you buy it right and then you turn around and immediately sell it without fixing it up. You can see your profits. And then because you made that profit, you can take some of that and put it back into your marketing, some of it and put it into commercial. You can take some of it and live off of it. And because of the way we do quick turn, you are not fixing up property. You're not dealing with contractors. You're not dealing with tenants. You can do this consistently multiple times. You can buy several properties and sell several properties all at the same time and make it a process of constantly doing this. And that will give you the stability that you want. Or the old way, you can wait and save for years until you can scale. That's what a lot of people did. That's what I learned originally. Or you can move into commercial in literally 12 months and save money on taxes. Because here's the thing. When you buy and sell real estate in a short amount of time, you have to pay capital gains taxes in most cases. I'm not an accountant. I'm not an attorney telling you what to do. This is not legal or financial advice, but I'm telling you that you will typically have to pay capital gains taxes. But if you go the route that I'm going to talk to you about, you can move into commercial in 12 months and save taxes. You can do it with pre-tax money. Imagine instead of giving Uncle Sam a bunch of cash, you could take that money and put it to work in actual real estate and get a return on it and not have to pay Uncle Sam yet. That I didn't say never. I just said yet. You don't have to pay him yet. So this is a great move. The old way, you work harder. You work hard to fix up those houses. You work hard to manage those tenants. The new way, you work smarter with systems. Quick turn, you work smarter with systems. You put things in order and you do the highest leverage work instead of doing all the stuff that feels like busy work, but it's not making you any money. Okay. All right. So let's talk about really quickly the 4-step quick turn system. What does that look like? What are you doing in quick turn? Number one, we're going to talk about how to move from single family to commercial in literally 12 months and what you can do to do this. One, find and negotiate equity-rich residential properties. Okay, what does that mean? Most people look for properties. Have you ever heard the saying, find motivated sellers? Look for motivated sellers. That's how you make money in real estate. Motivation is a feeling. That's like me telling you here. That's like me telling you, find happy sellers. Find sellers that are happy, or find sellers that are sad, or find sellers that are angry. You don't know what they're feeling. You don't know what their feeling is, and feelings change. Feelings change all the time. You cannot find, there's no list of emotions that you can buy that will tell you these sellers are motivated or happy or anything else. What they usually do is they look for something that usually means they're motivated. So foreclosure, evictions, or not evictions, but foreclosures, tax liens, city code violations, something that they think means that they're motivated. But if you ever talk to one of those sellers, you'll realize most of those sellers are trying to save their house. They're not trying to get rid of it. They're not trying to get out of it. They're trying to figure out how to save their house. What we do is we look on the other side of the equation. So the way it normally works, you look for motivated sellers, and then you turn around and you talk to them, figure out if they're really motivated, and then you see if you can convince them to sell you their house. What we do is we look for what we actually want, which is equity. Why do we want equity? And for those of you that don't know, equity is the money that they actually own in the house. So it's what the house is worth minus what they owe on the house, their mortgage. We look for equity. Why equity? Because if you look for equity, you can negotiate for some of that equity. You don't have to get all of it, but you can negotiate for some of it. And when you market to people with equity, they will reach out to you and say, hey, I'm interested in selling my house. And every single person that calls you will be somebody that has a property with equity in an area where you want to buy. So that is the difference. Everybody that calls us, so we may not get as many calls as somebody that's just looking for motivated people or somebody that is talking to people in foreclosure. We're getting calls from people that have a lot of equity and they have a reason to sell. They are motivated to sell because they called us, not because they were forced to sell. That's a different mindset. And once we do that, we figure out we negotiate with them to figure out if we can get some of their equity. We don't have to get all of it, but some of it. And there is our profit. Our profit is already built in. So instead of having to do sweat equity where we fix it up and we got to spend months fixing up a house, we don't have to do that. Instead of having to wait years and get appreciation while it's rented out, we don't have to do that. They did all of that stuff. We can just negotiate for some of that equity. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Art, why would they sell to me if they've got all this equity and they can just sell it on the market? There's tons of reasons. You don't care. There's tons of reasons why they will sell to you. Number one, they're trying to get out of the area and they need to relocate for a job or something like that, and they want to move. Or two, they are a landlord and they got tired of being a landlord. They just want out of the property. They just want to get the money they invested and get out. Or three, they inherited the house from a relative and they don't want to go back. They live in Texas. The house is in Florida. They don't want to deal with that house. Or four, they're going through a divorce and they need to liquidate the property and they've got a bunch of equity. They need cash fast. There's so many reasons why they would do this. You don't really care. You just have to find the right deals, the right properties, and then attract the motivated sellers from those properties. Does that make sense? Step two, fund these deals with only two ways. We fund them only two ways: commercial lenders, or we will do directly from the seller. What do I mean directly from the seller? Sellers are the biggest bank in the world because sellers can carry your note. They can loan you their money that's in the house and it's not costing them anything as far as they see it. So you can borrow from seller. It doesn't work every time, but you can get money to buy the property from the seller, or you can use a commercial lender. Now, the commercial lenders are a little bit different from traditional lenders. I run across so many people that literally say to me, Art, I can't buy houses. I can't do real estate because I don't have the credit. Or Art, I can't do real estate because I don't have the money to buy a house. You don't need any of that. And I say that with all sincerity. There are so many ways to buy. It doesn't have to be crazy. You can only use these two. Here's what you do need, though. You need a good deal. You need a good deal because if you don't have a good deal, the lender is not going to want to work with you. The way I explain it, I'll give you two scenarios really quickly that explain how a lender looks at it. Art, can the sellers be references as well? What do you mean by references, Raymond? Let me know. So there's two ways to look at this. One, if a bank sees a house and you say, hey, I'm buying this house, it's worth $100,000 today. I'm buying it for $100,000. It's going to take $30,000 to fix it up, and then I'm going to sell it for $200,000. So you're asking the bank for $130,000, and they're going to say, so you want me to loan you $130,000 on a house that's worth $100,000 today, and when you fix it up, it's worth $200,000. So as a bank, I got to trust that one, you're going to manage this money properly. Two, you're going to get the right contractors to fix it up correctly. And then three, when you sell it, it's going to be worth more money. So that's one way. Or somebody like me would come in and say, hey, bank, this house is worth $100,000 today, and I'm buying it for $60,000. So I want to borrow $60,000 and then I'm going to sell it for $100,000. And they're going to say, so you want me to loan you $60,000, and if you don't know anything and you mess everything up, I can sell the place for $100,000 and get my $60,000 back. Which one sounds safer to you as a bank? Because the one that's safer is why they're going to give you better terms and why they're going to say, yeah, I'll work with you because I like your business model. Your business model doesn't require me to take all the risk. You have negotiated the risk away for both of us. Exactly, Mike. Second option. You have negotiated the risk away for both of us, so it makes sense. So Raymond asks, if they have friends, they might have a house to sell as well. Not only that, Raymond, that's a great point. Not only that, but they will not just say right now. I've had sellers, literally, we bought their house and 2 years later, their sister or their cousin calls me and says, my cousin said you did good with their house. I want to see if you can buy my house. Because if you leave a good taste in their mouth by doing what you say you're going to do, not being a wholesaler and crafting a deal around it, but actually buying the property and then doing everything, closing them out, getting them their cash, and then selling it, then you will turn around and they will tell people they will be your biggest mouthpiece. And you're not even looking for that. We're not counting on that. That's a bonus. Yes, it is a hustle. That's a bonus. So yes, being good to sellers, being honest and straightforward to sellers will make you even more money. You don't have to steal from this. You know how people think in real estate, you got to cheat somebody to make money. You got to lie to the seller and you got to lie to the buyer. You don't have to do all of that. You're making it more difficult than it is. It's like that movie Monsters, Inc. when they realized laughter was more powerful than screams. You don't have to you don't have to be the bad guy, and you can make great money and people will celebrate you. I've gone to closings and sellers have literally given me hugs and cried and thanked me so much because they didn't want to have to go deal with their mom's house and they just wanted to get out of it, and I made it easy for them. And that person will literally tell everybody else. I had a lady that I tried to buy her house from her husband. The husband didn't want to sell. It was 4 houses. He didn't want to sell them to me at the price we wanted. We followed up with her. He died, and she called us back, and she said, I wanted to sell you the house because I thought he should have sold it to you when you came to him. I'll sell you the house. And we bought the houses from her. That's when you leave a straight, and it's not a take it or leave it kind of situation. You don't have to fight people to do this. You can do it without being difficult or fighting people and make really good money. Let's move on. Step 3, sell the place. Sell it without contractors, without fix up, without tenant headaches. Why do I put that as a step? Because you'd be amazed at how many people start working with us and then they come back and say, oh, Art, here's the thing. I've got this great deal. I'm going to rent it out, or I'm going to Airbnb it. And they come up with all these different strategies. Get the money. Why are we here? Why are you listening to me? You're not listening to me because of my boyish good looks. You're listening to me because if I can show you how to make more money, then you can make more money. Make the money. Don't go into all these other strategies trying to multiply and figure out. This is a strategy that you can follow from A to Z. You will end up with, we'll talk about what you'll end up with in just a second, but you'll end up a lot better off. I'll say it that way. Step 4, reinvest profits into this business as well as into a commercial business. When you finish this process, you will end up with 2 businesses. 2 businesses. You'll have a business that buys and quickly sells houses that can function and go and make money on the fly and make more than you need to live. And then you'll have a business that owns and holds a piece of commercial real estate that you can grow and build up tax deferred. So you don't even pay taxes on the money. So the money that people are paying the taxes, you can put it into your commercial and make money off of that. And the commercial still paying you cash flow every month, and it's appreciating and going up in value, and you don't have to put your hands on it. So do you see how this is a much stronger process? And I didn't have to fight. In none of this did you see me fight anybody. The number one metric in all of this, and that's the last thing, is you build long-term wealth with pre-tax money. So the number one metric with all of this is that you get out and make offers on the right properties. There's a guy, Alex Hermosi. I don't know if any of you all have ever heard of him. He's a marketer, and he talks about running business. And he has a great point that he said in one of his videos where he said, if people are doing a lot of work and they're not making the money that they want, It's a lot of why is it so hard to sell nice homes in a low income community? Because that's a great question. I'm going to answer that in 1 second. Great question. So a guy, he said, if you're working on the hard and not getting the results you want, usually that means you're working on the wrong thing. And that's the very truth. You're working on the wrong thing. You have to work on what's most important. Your job in this business, make no mistake, is to make offers on property that makes sense, that has equity. Now, Funny Tings asked, all of this makes so much sense, and it also explains to me why it's so hard to sell nice homes in low income communities. Yes, you don't have to sell nice. Think about, let me talk about selling property really quick. If I go into a lower income community, even if I go into a decent community and I fix up a house and make it gorgeous, let's look at who I can sell to. I got the people that come in the house that have excellent credit, excellent income, they make great money, and they got the choice of any house on the market. And my house is just one of the other houses on the market. And they can say, I like it, but I don't like that color wall or whatever. I got a very limited number of people I can sell to. Meanwhile, my house is on the market, same block, same size, but it looks lived in. It's not remodeled, but mine is priced lower. When somebody walks into my house, they're going to say, well, I like that other house. That was beautiful, but we can buy this house and save $80,000, and it's not going to take me $80,000 to fix it up, and I'm still going to turn a profit. So they'll buy my house first because I have a bigger market share of people looking at my property versus a completely rehab property. You know who looks great when they rehab a property? The investor that feels like, look at me, look at the great house that I've made. I've made this house look beautiful. Nobody cares. Stop thinking of yourself and start thinking of what's actually going to make you money. And your beautiful house with the double shower head is not going to make you more money. In fact, it's going to push more people away because you put that shower head on and you want premium to premium money. Yes, quick turn wins, Raymond. Excellent. So let's talk about proof really quick. Let's talk about proof really quick. I'll give you an example of Yolanda. Now, I didn't prepare this slide, so I know that my son, who did prepare this slide, probably didn't put Yolanda's picture in here. But Yolanda is a student that worked with us in Quick Term. Yolanda did a deal. I'm going to explain her deal to you. She was a realtor, but she had no experience buying and selling houses for herself. She never bought a property on her own. She had always helped people and helped investors. She followed our process to market to people with equity, and she found a landlord that had some condos. He had 3 condos. The landlord was sick of them. They were in Washington, D.C. He was sick of the condos. He didn't want them anymore. He wanted to get out of the business. He talked to her. She ended up working out a deal to buy 3 condos from him, all 3 condos. She negotiated the 3 condos. She immediately sold 2 of them for a $40,000 profit, immediately. The 3rd condo, she took the $40,000, so she had $80,000 in profit already. She bought them for $60,000. They were worth $130,000. So she sold them for what, like $110,000, something like that. No, she sold them for about $105,000 or $110,000. After closing costs and everything else, she walked with about $40,000. She then used that $60,000 of that $80,000 profit to pay the third property off free and clear, and then sold that one and made $134,000 off of one transaction. And she financed the whole thing with seller financing. She did not have to go to the bank. She did not have to use money outside of anything other than negotiating the deal. That is the power of finding a motivated seller with equity. Not just a motivated seller, but a motivated seller with equity. It changes the game for you and allows you to make money. All those times you've been trying to figure out, how do I get money from this? How do I make money in this business model? What do I need to do? You can now see it from finding motivated equity, people with equity that are motivated. So let's talk about commercial. Why commercial? Why should you go into commercial real estate? If you're making money in single family, why get into commercial? Bigger profits and bigger freedom. That is the biggest thing. Commercial will unlock the world to you. Have you ever seen somebody that their job is to get on a plane and fly to an area and go see if they want to buy a property? Imagine that being your life. You get up on Monday, you get up and, hey, I got to catch a flight because I got to fly over here and I got to go look at this building and decide if we want to spend money on it. We looked at the numbers, but now I got to see physically, I want to look at it and see if I want to make money on it. That's your job. Then you go to lunch, then you go back, run some numbers, and then you sit back down at your computer and decide if you're going to buy this property. That's the business of commercial real estate. It's fundamentally different, and the numbers are much larger. It's a larger business. It's a truly passive income. You know how people talk about getting passive income by owning a bunch of rentals? They'll say, hey, I bought 1,600 Section 8 properties and everything else. Here's the thing. You can do that, and you got to build a whole system, an infrastructure of managing all these rental properties. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go that route, you can definitely do it. Or you can buy one commercial property. You can do all of that stuff, make $30,000 a month or whatever it is, or you can just buy one commercial property. I can do it once. I can do it right the first time. And then here's the thing. I can do that, and then I can keep doing single family, build up some more cash, and then go do it again and still have money coming in. Okay. It's shared ownership. The way we invest as a group. We share the ownership, which means we share the risk. It lowers your risk because instead of you putting in $500,000, you put in $50,000 or $100,000, and it allows you to still get a piece of the action and the upswing. Here's the difference with the commercial. For those of you that don't know, commercial property is valued differently than single family property. So single family property is valued based on what other properties in the area sold for. Commercial property is actually valued based on the revenue it generates. So if I get a commercial property, I'm able to increase the revenue that it makes by $20,000 a year. That roughly translates into $200,000 or $180,000 or $300,000 in additional value on that property immediately. So the more money I can generate from that property, the more money I can make for myself. That's why commercial has a saying, highest and best use. Have you ever seen where I saw a guy recently, he took a old car wash, you know, those car washes where you would drive in and it had the thing on a swivel and you would wash your own car. He took one of those car washes and he closed it off and made it into a ghost kitchen for food trucks. So you would literally go in, the food truck would rent out this space, and they would have a small kitchen that allowed them in the wintertime, they could have a heated kitchen. They could sell their food and people could walk up there, and it would always be different food trucks that were there in the ghost kitchen and that they would use to do their ghost kitchen. And he took it from making quarters every week, you know, where it made some quarters and made some money as a car wash. But this thing literally made thousands and thousands of dollars a week because the food trucks paid for the space, especially in the winter and even in the summertime, because he could advertise, these are the trucks that are going to be there this week, and people would come to those areas. He changed the use and he quadrupled the value of that property. It went from being, let's say, $300,000 to over $1 million in value just because he used highest and best use. You can get creative with commercial, and that's not dealing with tenants in, you know, houses. It's dealing with commercial. It gives you many opportunities. Residential profits roll into commercial pre-tax. That is the magic formula. Okay, because if you buy houses and sell them before a year is up, you are going to have capital gains out of this world. But if you roll that money into commercial, and there's a couple of ways to do it, you can do a 1031 exchange, you can do some other things. But if you roll it into commercial, then you can do it pre-tax and use that money. Okay. This will give you the best of both worlds: short-term cash with single-family houses, long-term wealth with commercial without more work. I'm not fixing up houses. I'm not dealing with contractors. I'm not dealing with tenants. I am building wealth and continuing this cycle. And here's the thing. What happens when you sell the commercial property? Do you lose money? No, you sell the commercial property at a profit, take your profits and roll it into another commercial property even bigger than the last time and make even more money. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful way. So let's talk a little bit about group investing. Why is that important? The power of group commercial investing, why you should invest as a group in commercial as opposed to being a single person. Now, you can do it as a single person. I'm not saying you can't, but when you pull profits from smaller deals into bigger assets, you end up with a larger pool. Did you know you can get enough smaller people together and you can buy a commercial building without leverage if you need to? Now, I don't suggest that because leverage is a great tool if you use it accurately. But some people talk about getting into commercial and they're highly leveraged. They owe 90% of the property's value on debt. That's really cutting it close to being risky, where it might not be profitable for you. And if anything goes wrong, you lose money. But if you've got people tied money together and putting it into the asset, those equity partners lower the risk for everybody because it's a better investment for everybody involved, if that makes sense. You get to learn together with control and transparency. So even if you've never done commercial before, by working in a group, when we work in a group, you get to learn the process with somebody who's done it before, and you'll see all of the stuff. You'll see the emails that go out. You'll see what happens when this problem arises. You'll see how you deal with this. And it allows you to learn on your dime, but without taking on all the risk of not knowing what to do. So you get control and transparency. Every member owns a share of the property. You get some of the benefits of owning that property. You get the right to say it's yours, and you're building an asset that can go generations. Okay. Collective buying power equals faster growth. This is how institutional money goes. They invest groups of people money together. They use groups to invest. That's what makes them big. We have the power to do that. We just have to organize to do that. So if everybody that's sitting there saying, the man is holding me back, I can't get anywhere because I can't do this, that, and the other, you have to take the initiative to try something different. They are working together. There is strength in numbers. And if we tie our money together, we have awesome power. We have to take advantage of that. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about compounding. You can repeat this process for compounding growth. That's what I was talking about taking, when you sell a commercial property, taking the money and rolling it into an even bigger investment. You can complete quick turn deals, which is the start of your flywheel, and then fund your commercial buy-in, and then keep funding that commercial buy-in. Now, let me explain it like this. Let's say I buy into a piece of commercial property and I sell it at a 5x multiple. Two or 3 years later, I sell it at a 5x multiple. So I put in $100,000. I made $500,000. Now, I'm also getting money from quick turn deals. Do I need that $500,000? Is there something I need to buy? Because if I take it out and spend it, I got to pay taxes on it. But if I take that money out and put it back into a commercial deal, I reinvest the profits and I build more cash flow, because I'm going to buy a bigger property, or I'm going to buy the same size property with less debt, and I'm going to make more cash flow. So that money is pre-tax money, and I'm making more cash flow. How many quick turn single family deals should we do first before we jump into commercial? It depends on you. It depends on your area and what type of profits. That Raymond asked, how many quick turn single family deals should we do before we jump into commercial? It depends entirely on you and your comfort level. How much do you need to live? How much do you want to put aside to go into commercial? If you say to yourself, I can live off of $10,000 a month, and you do a deal, and that deal, Yolanda's deal, she made $134,000. Now, her deal isn't typical. You don't always make $134,000. I have another student, Kyra, she did $50,000 on her first deal. I have some students that have done $30,000 on their first deal. It depends on your comfort level. I personally like to build up a war chest of cash. I like to have no less than $100,000 sitting in an account that I can put to work in commercial, because that's going to give me $100,000 is 10% of $1 million, or 20% of $500,000. And so I can start looking from there. Now, if you get a group together, you can actually start with less, because if everybody puts in, if you got 10 people, everybody puts in 50,000. Now you've got $500,000 to go in and buy a large scale investment, and you can still use leverage, because that 500,000 can be 10% of a $5 million property. You know what I mean? So it depends. So it just depends on what you want to do and what's available, but you got to start. So this whole process can be rinsed and repeated, and replaces income with assets. Because here's the thing. If you do not, I was giving the example, if I sold the property, I made bought it $100,000 a year, sold it for a 5x multiple, and I made $500,000. If I don't have a use for that 500,000, I might as well plug it into another property and then make even more money. Because let's say I do that 500,000, and let's say the next time I only get a 3x multiple. Now I'm at 1.5 million. Do I have a use for 1.5 million? Probably not. I'm going to roll it into the next one. Now I've got 1.5 million in the next property. And let's say I only get a 2x multiple. I just made $3 million. I got $3 million now. Unless you have a use for that money, keep plugging it in. I will plug in money into commercial until the day I die. And then when I die, my kids can take over and they can work on it. And I'll teach them the ways to do this and make profit, and they should be able to take care of themselves. Imagine you being able to tell your grandkids, I got you a base income that you'll be able to make while you're young. You can pay for You can pay for your grandkids' college. You can pay for your great grandkids' condos. You can help your family establish a baseline income that you can then use to raise you up. And you started off buying houses with little experience. It's not mind numbing. So let's talk about timing, because this matters. Okay, are you all following along with me? Is this making sense to you? Let's talk about timing. So why now? Why should you invest in commercial or even start now? Let me explain what is going on. Commercial prices right now, thank you, Mike. Commercial prices right now are having an implosion. Why is that? Because of COVID. And you'll say, well, what does COVID have to do with it? When COVID happened, they dropped interest rates down to what, 2% or whatever it was. It was very low. And people went in and bought commercial property. And because interest was so low, they were able to buy properties for some exuberant numbers, some really big numbers. Well, commercial, remember I told you commercial doesn't work like residential. Commercial property actually, when they do a mortgage on commercial, they don't do a 30-year mortgage on commercial. They may amortize it, meaning that the payments are spread out for 30 years, but it usually has a clause that says this loan will become due in 5 years or 2 years or 10 years. So it usually becomes due in a shorter time because the bank or the lender doesn't want to have their money out for 30 years at a 2% interest rate when in 5 years the interest rate might be higher and they can get their money out at a higher interest rate. Does that make sense? So they want to make sure they get their money back in a short period of time so they can reinvest it at the going rate of whatever the rates are right now. And what are rates right now? They are higher than they were when COVID happened. So all of those commercial loans that were done when COVID happened are now coming due. And now if you had a 2% loan on your $3 million building, a $5 million or $10 million building, can you then go and say, okay, now I need to refinance into a 6 or a 7% loan? No, the numbers don't work. The numbers are literally 3 times higher. So if your payment was $20,000 a month, now your payment is $60,000 or $80,000 a month. It kills your numbers. So what do you have to do? You got 2 options. You can sell the building and take a loss or sell it at a loss because interest rates are higher, or you can try to go back to the bank and say, hey, bank, I can't pay you off. Can I refinance? Or can I negotiate to get the payment or do something? The bank may agree to kick the can down the road, but they're not going to just say, okay, we'll keep taking 2% while the interest rate is 6 or 7 or whatever. They're going to tell you got to get off your butt and figure something out. And if you can't figure anything out, you're going to sell that building. And this is a huge opportunity for investors. Yes, Raymond, there is definitely a way to locate these commercial deals. It's all about relationships. I'm not going to go into that right tonight, but yes, there's definitely a way. We have a process to find commercial deals, and they're widely available. I've been in commercial for a long time. And I've never seen a situation like this where we talk about motivated sellers. There are some very motivated commercial sellers right now. So that's the whole thing. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, residential hasn't dropped off a cliff. Remember everybody, when after COVID, what did everybody say? Ooh, residential is going to fall off a cliff and it's going to be a bubble and this, that, and the other. There wasn't a bubble. The market, even if the market softened because of interest rates, there wasn't a bubble. And it's showing because the Fed, for those of you that know, the Fed just lowered interest rates. They're steadily lowering interest rates because they're slowing things down, but they're not stopping. There is no bubble. And if there is a bubble, when 2008 happened and the real estate market dropped, do you realize how much of the market dropped? It dropped about 20%. Now that's a huge drop in residential, but it did not stop. And who made the money? The people that invested at the low point made tons of money because the market not only went up, it went past what it was before the 20% drop. This means that there's a unique opportunity now to get into commercial at a great number, and you can use profit from residential, which is strong, to use it to get into commercial. This is the time. This is the best window to make the jump. You know how people say, oh, wait a little bit. If you had waited, the real residential wouldn't have been as high as it is now. If you had waited, commercial will be stronger because you waited. You got to move now. Waiting equals missed monthly opportunities. You are literally missing opportunities while you're sitting there. And I know what you're thinking. I'll catch the next one. You will. You just won't make as much money. That's how you need to look at it. There is no perfect credit or big savings required to start this. So if you don't have perfect credit, that's okay. And I'm not going to show you use corporate credit or use a business credit line. All of that stuff is from COVID, when everybody was passing out credit because it was so cheap and they were giving out money and they knew everybody had money. Lenders have they've tightened up. They're not loaning money out like that. You don't have to do that. You have to know how to find the right deals. If you find the right deals, the money will come. That's what I'll tell you. So let's talk about working with us. So we have a program called the Commercial Transition Program. This is what we are offering. Our Commercial Transition Program is meant to get you from starting with residential real estate, even if you have no experience, you've never bought a property, or maybe you have bought a property, you just don't know what to do with it. You don't know the strategy that you should use. We are going to show you how to get from single family residential, making some money, to commercial real estate, all within a 12-month period. And we're going to do it as a group. Now, I'm going to tell you that because that sounds like a big promise. What happens if you don't make it in 12 months? Because somebody asked me that. What happens if I don't start in commercial? If you don't start in commercial, but you made $80,000 in single family, or you made $120,000 in single family, are you going to be mad? Maybe, but you might, but you're mad. At least you're $120,000 richer. Well, what if I don't make any money in single family? Well, then that probably means you didn't try, because if you follow the process, the single family market is soft right now for people trying to sell. There are people that want to liquidate their properties. There are not as many buyers on the market because of the interest rates. The market is soft. It's a great time to get into the residential market. Prices have not dropped drastically. They've dropped some, and that's fine. We don't count on the top market values, remember, with our properties. So we're not even at the top of the market. So let's talk about how we're going to get you there and what working with us looks like. So the Commercial Transition Program is our program. It is a 12-month program. We're going to give you the complete 4-step quick turn system via our Find and Fund community. So some of you may have already been a member of the Find and Fund community. We are including everything we did. We've revamped a lot of it and made it a lot stronger so that it follows a process of quick turn and gets you to a deal. And we're going to show you how to get to that first single family deal in this market. And then you're going to be able to grow from there because you'll have some money to work with. Next, and in that group, we're going to do weekly live coaching. We're going to do deal reviews. So you're not going to be stuck just figuring it out. We're actually going to get on a call once a week. If you have a deal, you can talk to us and say, hey, Art, this is my deal. What would you do? How would you negotiate this? And we're going to walk you through everything. Now, we're going to give you all the tools to do this. We're going to give you all the tools to do this yourself. But a lot of people, from what we've seen and the people that we've helped, a lot of people get stuck and they're like, okay, this, I want to do this, but I'm kind of scared. Am I doing it right? And we'll be able to walk you through the deals and we'll support you. Then we're going to give you access to financing options. We're going to show you the financing that we use to buy all of our deals. Now, let me explain what kind of credit do they want to see with the lenders. Typically, they want to see at least a 620. That does not mean they won't do a deal with lower credit. They care about the deal. They're not hard money lenders. They are commercial lenders. They care about the deal. And here's the thing. What they also care about is experience. Once you do the first deal, they're going to give you okay terms. Once you get past the second deal, they were going to open the books for you. They're going to say, okay, this person knows what they're doing. They can follow this process, and we're going to help them build their business, and they will. Okay. You're going to also get lender intel. We're going to show you how to find the lender, how to talk to the lenders, what to say, what not to say, how to impress them, and how not impress them. So you're going to have everything you need. And we're going to show you the smoothest process. It's like a fine cognac. We're going to show you how to get the sellers to agree to seller financing. When we make an offer for seller financing, typically I get sellers to agree to seller financing at 0% interest with no payments for the life of the loan. Yes, you heard me right. 0% interest with no payments for the life of the loan. And they're begging me to do it. You know the secret to doing this? I'll give you a secret. The secret to this is to not call it seller financing. If you don't call it seller financing, you win. If you call it seller financing or creative financing, it's a red flag. You got to sell it as a process and a benefit to them. And that's what we show you how to do. You will also get access to our deal management CRM. When you start talking to sellers, you are going to forget Mr. Johnson. How many of you all, if you've ever been a real estate investor, got a bunch of scraps of paper on your desk And then there was that one guy that wanted to sell you the house that had $100,000 worth of equity, and you can't find that scrap of paper with his phone number on it, and you miss out. We're going to show you our deal management CRM, which will make sure you keep all your appointments, which will show you what to say on the calls, which will give you all the contracts built into the CRM. So you can just fill out a contract and send it over to a seller. Everything you need. You don't have to have anything. We're even going to give you the authorization to release information so you can send it digitally to your seller. They can fill it out and you can talk to their bank to verify how much they own the house. We're going to give you all the pieces that you need. You're not going to need anything outside of this other than the people that you're going to work with, and we're going to show you how to get those people. And the biggest thing about this is when we finish tonight, I'm going to show you how you can do this with zero down enrollment option available. And it's available tonight so you can get in at zero upfront down to get into the program. You don't have to come up with money right away. And even if you do, you come up with we'll show you some financing options and everything, but you can do zero down to get started. Okay, so this is an option for you. So let's get a little bit further. Why we are doing this. If this is such a great deal, if you're making so much money, why help me? I'm just somebody, you're just trying to get a money grab. Great point. Let's talk about it. Why we're offering this right now. What is the benefit? I want to build an army of funded investors. When me and Aisha started this whole thing, so I'm going to tell you a quick story. When we started this whole thing, I had been doing real estate and I was making money. I had no interest in teaching anybody anything. I had no interest. In fact, my response to Aisha when she brought this to my attention was, why would I teach my competition? Why would I show somebody else how to do what I do? I'm happy. That's the problem. People don't know when to shut up and they can't make money. And she had a friend that wanted us to teach her how to do this. And basically, she wanted me to show her friend. And I said, her friend lives in our neighborhood. Why would I teach her how to be our competition? What I learned from this was that when we worked with her friend made some money and it was fun helping her. But what I learned from this, which was a big deal, was that there might be other opportunities. And one of the opportunities that always stood in the back of my mind is when you go into commercial, it's so hard to convince people. And it's not even about, it's hard to convince people to give you their money or invest with you in something, even if it benefits from them. You can show them all the numbers, show them all the math, and they're still going to be like, yeah, but I don't know. And I don't know. But here's the thing. If you teach them how to make the money in the first place, they trust you enough to invest with you on the bigger stuff. And I want to build an army of funded investors that we can go and start knocking down these commercial buildings and taking advantage, and we can build a portfolio that is out of this world. And I want you to come along with me. So I have a vested interest in helping you be successful in this because I want you to build. Now, there's another reason on top of that. Because when we invest together and learn, we will be able to share opportunities. Because when you get into commercial with us, you are going to learn how to find commercial deals. And when you learn how to find commercial deals, you'll be able to find them without me. And then when you see something that's big, you can come back to me and say, Art, I got one that we need to knock down. Let's knock down this bad boy right here. Here's a great deal. And you'll know it's a great deal because we showed you how to figure out what makes sense as a deal. I had a person come to me and they had somebody that wanted to sell a huge mobile home park. And their whole thing was, I want to sell this mobile home park. And they told me, and I said, well, why is this a good deal? That was my question to her. Why is this a good deal? And her answer was, because he wants to sell it. That was her answer, because he wants to sell it. That does not make it a good deal. That does not make it a good deal. And I had to spend 20 minutes explaining to her that it's not a good deal just because he wants to sell it. The whole goal is to get them, find deals that make sense, and we can work together. We can work as a community to make money and take down some big, huge, hairy deals. Okay. You can the other thing we want to do is we want to capture new success stories and testimonials. I want to see your success, because one of the things we're going to do with this group is we're going to do calls. We're going to talk with you. We're going to do Zooms on the weekly calls. And I want to talk to you about the wins. I want to talk to you about the losses. I want to talk to you about the success that you have with this, so that we can then use those stories to help other people see why they want to get into this. So we have a very vested interest in your success and helping you. But here's the thing. We're going to open a new area of community investing, and we want to do this as a group. This is not a game. This is not just some get rich quick or anything. This is real investing and building a real. Anybody that's worked with me, you can ask in the chat. There are a few people in this group that have worked with me in the past. If you work with me and you are committed and you're there, I'm there. My wife says I'm too committed because I love helping people and I love to talk. So I'm when you ask me questions, I will give you the most thorough answer that I know. And a lot of times it's like, I never looked at it that way. I help you. Okay. So what's going to be required of you if you're serious about this? What do you have to do? One, what commitment do you need to succeed? Well, to be honest with you, you need to be able to spend about an hour to 2 hours per week to learn and take action. This is not something that you got to replace your second job with. It's not going to take that much. You have to get set up and then you have to do the work. And the work is not that hard, but it does require you to do things like answer phones when they call people back when they call you. Don't sit on the phone call. Somebody called you and said, I got a house I want to sell. Don't sit on it for 2 weeks and say, I should call them back next week. No, call them back. Because the sooner you call them back, the sooner you get to a check. Let's remember why we're here. We're here to get a check. Okay? Follow the steps. Trust the process. Now, if this is something that you want to do, you have to be willing to follow instructions. I'm not going to tell you how to do this other business model that you found out and you want to see how you make it work. You have to be coachable and consistent. You don't have, I get it. Life happens. Sometimes you can't show up, but you got to show up enough to learn. You're not doing either one of us any favors just saying, I got this stuff. I never used it. I want you to learn this. We'll guide you through every step of the way. I'm here to help you with the financing, the finding the deals, the setting up your CRM, the everything you need, but you got to take action. Okay. Now, really quick, I want to touch on this. What kind of commercial deals do we prefer? Because that's one of the questions a lot of people ask. We don't buy commercial buildings. We don't buy like apartment buildings. I don't like apartment buildings. Why would I trade one tenant in a single family house for 50 tenants in a commercial in an apartment building? I don't. We prefer to buy things that can scale quickly. What does that mean? Here's a great one. My favorite, mobile home parks. We buy mobile home parks and we don't own the mobile homes. At least we try not to. We own the parks, the land. I means I have to control everything up to the utility line going to the house. I don't want to own the mobile home. I want to own the land because even if you fall behind on your rent on a mobile home, you are more than likely going to pay for the lot part, the lot ownership on, having the lot and the property. So that's something that you can do. You'll pay your lot rent. You might not pay your rent, but you'll pay your lot rent because if you don't, you know what my eviction process is? I hook a truck up, break your utilities off, and then I move you out of my park and you're evicted. Your house is still there. You can still live there. You just live on the street and the police ticket you. So it's much easier. And I'm not saying I prefer to do that. 99% of the time that never happens. But what more than likely happens is you pay your lot rent and you stay up with that. Self-storage units. I don't like people, but I like their stuff. I like their stuff to stay in there because the self-storage units, you pay your self-storage and people buy more stuff. I don't know why you don't just throw it away, but you put it in self-storage units and you leave it there for years and you pay every month. It's beautiful. It's lovely. And stuff doesn't talk back. Stuff doesn't complain about the leaky faucet. Stuff doesn't say the toilet is running. It's stuff. So it makes great sense. It's a great investment. Strip malls. Strip malls are great. You got to buy very carefully in the right areas. But have you ever seen an empty strip mall? Now, that's a trick question because there are plenty of empty strip malls. But if you buy right and you look at the area and what makes sense to go there, you can make really good money with strip malls. And strip malls are a great investment, and it doesn't take a ton of tenants to make good money. Our commercial strategy is simple, clear, and it actually works. So we're very focused on what we buy and what we don't buy. And we'll talk to you about that once you're in the program. Once you join, we'll teach you how to select and evaluate commercials so that you can bring deals to the group and we can invest together. Tonight only, if you sign up with us, I'm going to have AJ put the link in the chat. If you sign up with us, let's talk about what you're going to get. Your investment and everything included if you sign up tonight. Regular price is $25.99. Tonight only, it is $19.99 to get into this program. And you can do it with no money up front to get into the program. But tonight, if you sign up, not only will you pay less, you will also get some bonuses. You will get a one-on-one strategy call with me or Aisha, more than likely me, but it could be Aisha because she does do strategy calls. And we will talk to you about your strategy and what you should start with, how you should start, and give you kind of a plan of, hey, this is where I start based on where you're at. We'll even talk to you about financing and how to get the best financing from where you're at. That'll be one-on-one. You will get our quick turn deal calculator. It is how we evaluate single family deals in a matter of minutes. And it'll show you not only what you should pay, it'll show you how to negotiate. So it's going to show you what's the minimum you should pay, where you should start off with, and what's the maximum you should pay. And your profit is already embedded and locked in, if that makes sense. Okay, you'll get that. You'll also get our negotiator AI access. Now, this is something that is not ready yet, but it is close to ready. Now, here's the thing. I told you that our process is negotiation, and we do negotiation. Well, you need to practice. And we used to get on a call with you and practice with you on a call, but now we have a negotiation AI, and this AI has been trained on all the negotiation calls that we have done. So you can call into a number. The negotiation will act like a seller or a buyer, depending on which role you want to play. And you can act like you're selling the house and see what it says. You can act like you're buying the house, and it will negotiate with you. It'll negotiate back and forth. And you can practice your negotiation so you can feel comfortable with it. And it sounds just like a regular person, and it sounds like a cranky old lady or an old man or a nice lady. It sounds like all different people. So you can practice your negotiation with different responses. It's not going to be the same response every time. So that's another thing you will get access to if you sign up tonight. Now, the zero down option available at checkout. If you click on the link right here, you can see that we have Klarna and Afterpay. It says other payment options when you click on the link. So if you click on that link, you will be able to see other payment options, and you can choose to use one of the other options like Klarna, okay, or Afterpay. These programs allow you to get in either for no money up front or for very little, and you can see which one you qualify for, and it will let you know very quickly. So that is an option for you. So this is something that you can do, and it won't take a lot of time. It's very easy to work through, and you can get started. Now, the invitation, we are only taking 100 people, and we have already filled several spots with early bird specials, people that have got early bird access. So we do not have 100 spots left. After this call tonight, because this call is being streamed on several platforms, after this call tonight, we'll see how many spots we have left. But we are only taking 100 people. We're going to use that 100 people and get them to commercial real estate, get them making money. And our process, the way we do our business, we can run this with about 100 people. And this will be the first cohort of this group. We will not open this training back up no earlier than spring of next year. So it will not be open all year round or anything like that. It is a one-time join, and then we're going to work exclusively with you guys, the people that sign up, to get this process going and get you profitable and get you making money before we take on any new members. So, a lot of programs, once they get you in, they're focused on getting more people in. We are focused on getting everybody in now and then working with those people exclusively just to get them in, okay? After today, you can still join if spots are available, but you will not get the bonuses. You won't get the one-on-one, you won't get the calculator, and you will not get the negotiator AI. So you can still join, but these options are available for you right now. You can sign up. If we see that you signed up and you started tonight, you can get going, and that will be you'll get your bonuses. We'll have everything out within 24 hours. You'll start getting your emails with access to everything, and you can get started. This process is not hard to do this business, but it will require you to actually pay attention and follow. And it's not going to be 16 hours of video. I can't stand that. The videos, if you do watch videos, they are short. They're usually like the max 20 minutes, and they're usually shorter than that. They explain what you got to do and do it in a very simple follow-up step. Do this step, do this step. It's not philosophy. It's not what you should kind of do. It's very much clear and easy to understand. Okay. You get early access, you get the onboarding, and you get the tools if you sign up tonight. Does this sound like something that is interesting to you? You can start with zero down up front if you use Klarna or Afterpay. They are in the chat when you click on the link. They very good. They are. If you click on the link, you can get access. Is this a one-time cost or a monthly cost? Very good question. It is one time. It is one time. You pay this one time, and you are done, and you are working with us for a year. Terry asks, Art, what is your guarantee if this program is for us or is not for us? If it is not for you, I suggest you not sign up. This is 100 people that we are committing to work with for 12 months. The only reason, and Terry, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I'm going to suggest, what do you mean if it's not for you? If you don't want to do the single family to commercial, or do you mean like, I don't get it, or I can't do it in my area? This works everywhere. I've yet to see an area where it does not work, where somebody can't do it. And the process is simple. It's like baking a cake. You just need to know how to put the ingredients in the right order. If you bake a cake and you put eggs in and then cook it in the oven and then you add flour afterwards and you put in vanilla, you're going to have crap. If you put it in the right order, you will make money doing this. As long as you follow the process, you will be successful. And I will tell you this, my students, of the students that I currently have, and we've been doing this for about 2.5 years, and my students have made money. The ones that have not made money are the ones that typically get scared and give up. That is usually the biggest thing. It is not that they didn't know what to do. It is not that they didn't see how to do it. It is not that they couldn't do it. It's just that they got scared and they said, oh, I don't know. And a big part of it was they were scared to negotiate. How are you going to do all of this and be scared to answer the phone? So yes, Raymond, to get set up, you're going to spend about an hour to 2 hours a day. Once you are set up, great question. He said, this is an hour a day. Once you are set up, it will not be an hour a day. It will be whenever your phone rings or whenever you go knock on doors. So depending on the way you're going to start, that will dictate. But when your phone rings, the phone calls are typically 15 to 20 minutes. So if you get 2 phone calls in a day or 2 phone calls every other day, then that's about as much time as you're going to spend. The setup takes a little bit of time just because you got to set it up, and we're going to give you the instructions to set up quickly. Now, let me tell you when it takes longer. If you don't know how to use a computer, it's probably going to take you longer, because some people are like, how do I get on the internet? And if you're doing that, then yes, this might not be for you, because you do have to get on the internet. If you don't know how to use a spreadsheet, and you don't have to know how to do complex calculations, you just have to know how to put numbers in a spreadsheet. If you don't know how to do that, then this might take you a little bit longer. You can still do it. I've got a student right now. She's an older woman and she's a monster. She's a monster. And she didn't know how to use a computer, really. I had to walk her through it. She got it, but she's a monster on the phone. She will negotiate the pants off of you. Terry said, I will be dedicated to keep going and not give up. How long to get my first deal? That is a great question. Terry, here's the answer. The answer is it depends. I'm not going to tell you you're going to get your first deal in a week, because that's not realistic. Yolanda did her first set of mail, and she got her first deal out of her first set of mail. Here's the thing. Let's say you did door knocking and you did it for 3 days and you didn't get a deal. Would it be worth it if it took you 10 days to do it and you got a deal and that deal made you $50,000? Or if you put out direct mail and you put out mail and for the first 2 months you didn't get anything, but then in the 3rd month you bought 5 houses. Would it be worth it? And on those houses you made, let's say, $40,000 on average a house. So the question isn't how long is it going to take me to get my first deal? The question is, can you stay committed? And remember, once you get set up, the only thing you can do, can you do both methods? Raymond, excellent. Go get it, Raymond. Yes, you can do both deals. The only problem with both deals, you're probably going to get more money than you're going to probably get more deals than you can handle. And you're going to be calling me talking about, Art, I got this one and I got this one and I got this one. What do I do? Yes, you can definitely do both. You don't have to do both, but you can do both and you will have success in both arenas. Great point, Raymond. So yes, this works. And yes, you will get a deal. The thing I tell people, if you did it for a month and you didn't get a deal, would you give up? If that's the case, if you would give up, if you did this for a month and you hadn't gotten a deal yet, would you give up? How much is too much, or how much time is not worth it? If you do it for 2 months and you got a deal in the 3rd month, but that deal was an $80,000 deal, or you got 2 deals and each deal was $60,000 and you were going to make $120,000, would those 2 months be worth it? Let's look at it. If it was your job, how many months would you work to make $80,000? How many months would you work to make 120? Now, I'm not saying it's going to take 12 months. I have yet to have a student that went working with us for 12 months and never got a deal. Typically, if I'm going to give the longest of my students, I want to be clear on this. If I'm going to give the longest of my students, a student that wasn't following it exactly what we told her to do, but she still did it, she got a deal in about 5 months. It took her about 5 months, but she got a deal. A student that follows everything to the T can take 1 month, 3 months, 4 months, but at the end of the day, they got a deal. And literally, with the investment that you're making into this program, the investment that you're making into this, how many deals do you need before you consider this a win? Literally one. How many deals would it take you to pay back this yearly program? 1, 6, 12, literally one deal. One deal. So even if I'm full of BS, if I'm complete, if Art, man, that guy Art, he's full of BS, and you only get one deal, you're going to be profitable. Boom. Okay. Mike, I signed up for the sprint program, would like some help. So can I move up to this program? Any help would be appreciated. Mike, I would definitely suggest moving up to this program. The sprint is a beginner program. It is meant to get you started. This is meant to get you done. Profit, check, in bank, money. This is meant to take you through the entire process. This is the better option. The sprint is to get you familiar with what we do and start you. This is to actually get you working with us, and you're going to get on weekly calls. You're going to be able to talk to us, and we're going to help you. I would definitely select this. And in fact, when you do the sprint, we offer you this at the end of the sprint. Okay. So you can go ahead and start on this. And if you've been diligent and you're like, hey, I get it, but I need help, this will allow you to get help. The sprint does not come with one-on-one help or doesn't come with group help or anything. It's just kind of, these are the instructions. The weekly calls are typically on Thursdays around this time. So if you made this call, you are right in line. So usually it's around 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, so if you made it on this time Thursday, you're good to go. And you will get recordings of previous calls. So you get to listen to the previous calls in the group of whatever we talked about in the previous week. So the weeks you weren't even in the group, you can go back and listen to those calls. So you get access to all of that stuff. This is a great option for everybody. This is going to get you going. If you are serious about wanting to change your life and change your financials, this is it. Only 100 seats total. First come, first serve. There are spots still available. We did have early signups this week. We will be leaving this open just until we fill these 100 spots, and then we will be closing down. Okay? Now, last thing I want to tell you, take the leap from houses to communities, because that is what we are doing. The numbers, the money is in the numbers. We're going to show you how to listen. If you can't make it through buying a house, you'll never get to the commercial. And trust me, the money in commercial is sweet. It's the sweetest. It's the best, because you're going to make money hand. And when you see how much money you're going to make, it's going to be life-changing. Okay? It is going to be life-changing money in commercial, but you got to make money to start, and you got to get into the residential side. So here's the link again. I put it in the chat multiple times. If you are signing up tonight, you will get this. You will get the bonuses. You'll get a one-on-one call with me and Aisha. We'll show you how to set that up tomorrow. You will get the calculator to help you with your deal, so you know how to do a deal and everything else. And then you will also get the negotiator AI, and you will negotiate. And that son of a gun is hard sometimes. So you will negotiate. You don't know what you're going to get. Let's start building your commercial wealth together. I want to make money with you, and I'm somebody that likes to make money. I don't know about the rest of you. I like making money. Let's get to it and do it together as a group and learn together. All right? See you inside. Now, before I get off this call, I am going to answer questions. Anybody got questions on anything I talked about before I get off the call? If you got questions, you can drop it in the chat. Either chat. I got two chats. I got the stream chat going, and I got the live going. So any chat, drop a question in the chat, and we'll walk you kind of through some examples. If you want to talk about what a deal looks like or anything like that, I'll walk you through. And here's the thing. How much will ads and mailing cost? I'm going to talk to you about that. You are going to set your budget. That's the answer, because I'm not going to tell you to set something that causes you to have hardship if you do this. I don't want you saying, all right, I'm eating ramen noodles every day because I did this marketing. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter. If you start small, you can grow. The first time I did marketing, and you don't have to do the level that I did. The first time I did marketing, I did $1,500 in marketing. I spent $1,500. Now, when I spent $1,500, the first month, that's a great question, right? You beat me to it. I was going to say, okay, so let me tell you really quick. The first month I spent $500. No, I spent $1,500 that first month, and I got a couple of calls, but I did not buy a deal. And I was completely discouraged. I was like, this is stupid, this, that, and the other. But I knew it worked. But I was like, I was like, I thought I would have gotten a deal by now. I committed and did the second month. That second month, I got 3 phone calls in a week's time. The first house I bought, we did $20,000. We made $20,000 on that first house. I remember that clear as day. The second one, the guy called and said he had a house he wanted to sell. So it was worth it. Yes. So I spent $3,000. I made $20,000 so far. The second guy that called had a house to sell. And at the end of the call, I asked him one question. And this is what I call my $1 million question. And he told me that he had 20 houses. He actually had 27. He told me he had 20 at the time, but he had 27. He told me he had 20 houses he wanted to sell. We bought all 20 houses. Yes. And I know what you're saying. How did you buy all 20 houses? We bought all 20 houses, and I started with $1,500. So I'm $3,000 in. We bought all 20 houses. We bought about $800,000. Yes, of course it's in the program. Yeah, of course now. Come on now. And so we bought that 20 properties. And when we bought the 20 properties, the day we bought them were worth $3.1 million. We spent less than $1 million buying those 20 properties. Remember what I told you. I said, if you have the deal, the money will come. Do you think I had a couple of $100,000 sitting around? I did not. We bought 20 houses. They were worth $3.1 million the day we bought them, and we sold them. We sold 8 of them to tenants that lived in the houses. One tenant, let me tell you this story. One tenant lived in the house for 32 years. They had lived in the house for 32 years. It was an older couple. They never bought the house. They didn't even buy it when we tried to sell it to them. They moved to another rental. We sold the house to another couple. They had paid off the house entirely, and they still were renting. I say all that to say, and that to me, that was kind of sad, because I was like, man, I can't believe you. And we gave them a sweet deal because they had been there so long. I was like, buy this house. And they did not want to buy the house. They were like, we're thinking about moving because we're going to relocate. And they didn't buy the house. But I say all that to say that it's not going to, this stuff does not, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't, it's not quantified, doesn't exponentially grow the way you think it should. You're not going to spend 5,000 and make 10. You're not going to spend 7,000 and make 12. You're going to spend whatever you spend, and then it's going to make over what you spent. And then you're going to say, so let me tell you right now in the market, we will spend anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a month in marketing. And you'll say, oh, 30 to 50, I couldn't spend. You're not spending it out of your pocket. You're spending it off of the profits you made on properties you previously sold. Can we not do that in PPC leads too? No. I'll explain when you get in the program. I'll explain. So PPC is great. I have no problem with it, but it's not great for what we're doing. So no, I would not do PPC marketing for this. I don't suggest it. Okay. I do not suggest it. And you can do it and you might find a deal, but the likelihood that you find the right deal is needle in a haystack. The way we're doing it, we're aiming a shotgun at a wall of stuff that makes really good sense. This is needle in a haystack if you try to go PPC. So no, I would not suggest it. Okay, any other questions for me? I hope you all are sitting your seats up because yes, Terry, good. So I hope you all are filling up and getting your spots. Like I said, you can do the no money down with Klarna or Afterpay. There's the link to sign up. We will leave that link open. If you sign up tonight and you are in the program before midnight, not before this call, I'll give you to the end of tonight, then you will get the bonuses and we'll be able to see who signed up tonight. If you are in there, then you will get those bonuses and you can sign up. You can use, if you want to use PayPal credit, because they do have PayPal credit on there. They have, you can use credit cards, obviously, and stuff like that. You can get signed up. As long as you're in, however you get in, you are in and you will get going. And you will be working with us for 1 year. So don't come to me and say, all right, I want to drop out the program. You can't. You can't drop out the program. Okay? All right. Maylin, I know you got to sign up. So you figure it out. Get in here. How does the process to buy a portion of the investment? Thank you. I know. any monthly options. So when you go in and go to other options, the Afterpay and Klarna give you monthly options. And there's PayPal credit. If it shows on the link, you can do PayPal credit, and that can give you a monthly option as well. So there are a few monthly options. So you can look at that, but they're in that payment portal, so you can see. Somebody had a question. Let me go back up. What was the question? How does the process to buy a portion of an investment? What do you mean by a portion of an investment? Are you talking about, explain that a little bit more so I can understand. Are you talking about commercial, buying a portion of a commercial deal, or are you talking about Land Trust X? I don't think I even talked about Land Trust X on here. Commercial, group investment, commercial. So what we do is we basically pull money together and we invest as a group. So let's say our group is the quick turn group. In fact, so the best way I can explain this is that we invest, we get together as a group, we form an alliance not an alliance. I'm missing my words. We form a group, and that group makes the investment. So everybody's money is pulled together, but everybody owns a percentage of that investment. What does that mean? So you have a permit. You have a. Oh, okay, very good. So when we're in a group, so let's say your investment counts for 20%, then that person's, do you need, so everybody has their percentage and they get a percentage of the total return that the group makes, whatever their percentage is, if that answers the question. Terry asked, do you need separate LLC? Do you need separate LLC? To do the residential, you do need a separate LLC, and we'll even show you how to get set up. You can set up, do you have an LLC or do you need one? If you need an LLC, I can show you how you can get a whole company set up in a tax haven and with the best numbers, and you can check with your attorney before you listen to what I'm saying, but I will show you how to do that. It's going to cost you about $150, and you will have it, and that's your whole company, and you can have a whole functioning company, and it is a tax haven, so it's going to give you tax benefits. I'm all about taxes. Listen, when you pay taxes, the first year, I'll tell you a quick story. First year we did this, we did quick turn, the process that we learned, we killed it. We were making money hand over fist. We made over $800,000 that first year. Okay. We made over $800,000 that first year. And when I say we made over 800,000, Terry, I'll show you all of that because it depends. Terry, you keep asking all the depends questions. It depends. I got to show you. It depends on a couple of things. If you sign up tonight and I get you in a one-on-one, I'll ask you 3 questions, and those 3 questions will let me know what state you should set up in. What was I saying? Oh, so we made 800 and something thousand that first year that we did quick turn, that we actually built this into a system. And I was not well versed in taxes. And when they came to me with a tax bill, it was out of this world. I was like, what the heck? And and I told Aisha, well, we had a good run. When I get out of jail, baby, we'll talk about it from there. But luckily, I got a good accountant, and I was able to figure out how to do it. And I told him I didn't want this to happen again because I could not take these big hits on the taxes. And he told me what to do. And one of the things he said was, put the money to work before you just take it and spend it, and you can offset the taxes. We got that down to a science now. We got that, and I'm going to show you. When you finish this, you are going to have so much knowledge on what to do that you can literally take family members. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth, that never works. I'm just going to be honest with you. Family members are not of the same mindset. Just because you are blood and family does not mean you all are going to make money together. Some people you can, but they got to be almost, do you have an accountant we can use and ask questions? Mike, great question. No, I do not, but I have interview questions that you can ask an accountant to make sure they're the right accountant, so you can find your own accountant in your own area. So I have the next best thing because I don't know your area. So I don't have an accountant that you can use, and they're different laws, different places, but I'm going to show you how to interview an accountant and an attorney so you can get the right questions, if that makes sense. So all of this is to say that, okay, good. All of this is to say that when you do this, man, we will get you to where I'm trying to show you that everything I'm setting up is to get you guys where you're in a position where you can make this money. You have all the support that you need. You don't have any excuses. The biggest excuse that you will have is, I just didn't do it. And I hope that's not your excuse. If you're doing that, then you should not be one of these 100. Okay. If you're doing that, you should not be one of the 100. But this 100, we are going to take it to another level. And we got all kinds of plans. I can't tell you all the plans because of the fact that my wife, Aisha, always says I talk about I got a big brain. I work on a big level. We got a bunch of stuff that we do, and I don't want to tell you everything, but we're gonna have some surprises in this, and we're gonna show you how to do some even better things as we go through this. This is to get you started. Okay, this is to get you started. It's gonna seem slow at first because you're gonna be like, all right, I got to do this, I got to fill this out, and this. Yes, you do. But when you get started and you start making money, you will be happy. This is the setup. I'm going to put this just in case anybody in the other community wants, if they want the link to join, that is the link to join us. And you can sign up tonight if you want to get the extra bonuses. And everybody that signs up tonight will get the email with the links for the add-ons for the bonus stuff that we talked about. Okay. All right, guys. So any other questions for me on anything else? I hope I've answered your questions. Did you get some value of this? Did it seem like this was helpful? Did it explain a lot? I don't talk about commercial ever when I do my Monday live calls, because I do Monday live calls. But I talk about it tonight because we are opening this up and I do stuff. I'm somebody that's dedicated to your success. I want to see you guys win. And when you win, it's a benefit for me. It's a benefit for you. We win together. Okay. And I'm going to show you some stuff that this is a nice change. I'm glad you liked it, Mike. That's good. So I'm glad that you're getting something out of this. I hope you signed up. Should we try the SF single family before commercial? Yes, you should go. What we're doing, Terry, this process is to start off with single family and use the money you make from single family to grow into commercial. And it's going to happen in 12 months. I'm going to show you how to get it done in 12 months. So yes, you should definitely start off with single family. Now, if you got $250,000, $300,000 that you're just sitting around in the bank, then yeah, you can probably start with commercial and I can talk to you about that. But if you don't have $250,000, $300,000, I'm going to help you get $250,000, $300,000. And then we're going to talk about going into commercial and everything else. And I wanted to make this where it wasn't so expensive that it was like, I would love to do it, but I cannot take a second mortgage on my house. This is enough an investment. So this is a combined program. Yes, this is a starting in single family, make the money from single family, and then going into commercial. And we're going to do all of that in a 12-month period if you follow what I'm telling you to do. So yes, this is both of them together, and you will learn the process. Now, let me be clear, Terry, we are investing as a group in the commercial. So we don't invest. I'm not going to, I would say it like this. I'm not going to show you how to invest as an individual in commercial. Let me see how I can do this. I'm not going to show you how as an individual. You will learn how to do our process as an individual, and you can always go off on your own and you can get into it on your own. But I'm going to show you in a group, and we're going to go as a group. And I tell people all the time, when we do our group investments, and then when it's time to get out, when you get your couple of $100,000, that's the biggest thing. You can reinvest it and do it tax deferred and defer your taxes and reinvest it. And I'll talk to you about that when we're getting out of a commercial and getting into another one. I'll say, hey, we're going to reinvest, and this is what we're reinvesting in. And you can do that and defer the taxes, or you can commit and say, hey, I'm just going to take the money and you're going to pay the taxes and take the hit. It's not like there's a right or wrong answer. It depends on you. I'm just personally, when do you need like $600,000 cash? You know, like you don't usually need that kind of money. If you get 600, I know if you say right now, if you're making $40,000, $50,000 every month or every other month, and you're getting $40,000, $50,000 every other month, what do you need $600,000 for? What do you need your credit score to be? So I like to see your credit score at least 620. That's fine. If you 620 or better, you're fine to do everything. If you are below that, you can still do it and you'll still have no problems. And what I typically tell people to do is get your first deal done. And then once you get your first deal done, then you'll be able to pay a lot of your credit stuff and get your credit in order and all that kind of stuff. But you don't even need to do that. And I can show you, we got a bunch of stuff. Do we also say, nobody, including myself, is going to ask if you got a salary or a job. The lenders that we use, they're commercial lenders. They don't care about you. They care about the deal. None of them care if you got a salary or a job. They don't even ask. They don't ask for pay stubs. They're not gonna. These are not the lenders that you're used to. Okay, if I can tell you that. So it's not the same thing. All right. So and then Maylin, you said you give me a little bit to get in. Maylin, you better get in here. I'm not even playing with you. No, it's not hard money. This is not hard money, Terry. So no, it's a commercial lender. It's different. You better get in here. I'm not even playing with you. You have no I'm gonna pull you in. I'm gonna go to your house and pull you in because you are dedicated and you're ready and you just gotta get in. So I'm not even playing with you. So yes, so keep bouncing out of a firm. So if you don't get in, I will have you set up with Lavana. I'll have her reach out to you tomorrow. If you seriously want to get in, Milan, I'll have Lavana reach out to you, and I'll have her get you in. Okay, I'll get her to work with you. I'll tell her what to do, and we'll get you set up tomorrow. So I'll reach out to you tomorrow. I'll have Lavana get you in because I know you know. All right, Terry, here's your link, man. Let's get it. Get to it. No, it's not hard money. I think that was your question. It's not hard money. Okay. Maylin, if I don't reach out to you, which I will, but if I don't, then just message me and I'll make sure I get you. I'll get you set up so we can get you in. Okay, so I'll make sure I take care of that. Okay, all right. Any other questions from me? Anything else? No problem, Maylin. I know you got to be one of these 100 because I want to tell your story. So we'll get it. All right. Anything else? Yeah, I know you need to retire. We all need to retire. So there you go. All right. So all right, Terry. So you should be signing up. If you got the link, you can sign in. If you want to do the payment, then set up, go to the down at the bottom. It says other payment options, I think, or something like that. Let me pull it up and then I can see. It says if you go, when you go into it, it loads. It'll literally have a button on the right below where it says pay, and it says, oh, my screen's low. Yeah, it should have all the different ways. It has Affirm, Afterpay, Klarna. It has everything. So you can pick into what you're doing and you can join however it makes sense. You can do pay later with PayPal. It's got a bunch of different options. So once you logged into PayPal and everything. So this is your chance to get in. You get the bonuses if you sign up tonight. We'll get you going. And we will get everybody in here and get going. I have a few private questions that I cannot say in this chat. Terry, set up. If you sign up tonight, then set up and you'll get a one-on-one call with me and we'll go into it and we'll deep dive into where you're at. And I'll go through everything you need to go through. That's one of the bonuses. You'll get a one-on-one with me and I'll talk you through everything that you need. Okay. So, all right, guys. So if there are no more questions, you got everything. You got till midnight tonight. To get in and get started. It's been on here. I've been on here for an hour and a half and it's getting late. I don't want to keep the kids up. So guys, I will talk to you later. I hope that some of you I know signed up. The ones that have signed up, we will get started tomorrow. Be ready to go. Be ready to launch and get started. We're going to tell you what to do. Follow the steps. Don't deviate. Don't come to me talking about Airbnb or group homes for little kids. We're not doing any of that. We're making checks. We get checks. Okay. Let's get the checks. Let's get the money. Let's get to the commercial and let's knock down some of these gorillas out here. Some of this commercial. How often do we meet or next meeting? Once you are signed up, you will meet. We meet weekly, and the meetings are Thursdays. They're around this same time. So I just got off the call with the people in the group before this call, and we do every Thursday. And you can ask questions throughout the week, and we answer questions. So you always have access to us, but the calls themselves are every Thursday. Okay. All right, guys, you got everything you need. You got the stuff. I put the links in the chat. I'll put it in one last time. If you are trying to get in, Maylin, I will reach out to you tomorrow and I will see you guys on the next call. If you haven't already, if you haven't signed up or you're thinking this isn't for you, our calls just chat or with voice too. Calls are Zooms like this. So you can get on here and I can see your face if you want to get on the Zoom and see your face and everything else. So all the calls are Zooms. We don't do phone calls. We are not doing this. Is not 1980, Terry. We are doing Zooms. We are on Zoom face to face, so I can hear you everything. So I can see your expression. Yes, this is not 1980. It is not a dial-in number, and everybody called. Okay, good. Maylin, making progress. Get in here, Maylin, so I can see you. Because I know some people I like want to work with. I want to see people. I want to see people in because I want to work and I want to see their story. I want because Maylin almost started crying when we talked before. I want to see Maylin cry when she gets this first deal. And she's like, oh my goodness, I want to see it. So let's get it. Let's get to where we need to be. I will show you guys. We'll get you started. I thank you all for being on this call. I'm thankful to work with you. I look forward to working with you guys. Mike, talk to you soon. Did you sign up, Mike? Are you in here? I hope you are. So if you signed up, I will see you in here and we'll get started. Like I said, the link will be in till midnight and you get the bonuses and we'll get you going. All right, everyone. I wish you the best. Thank you. All right, Raymond. Good. I know you're in. Good stuff. I hope to see all of you. And as always, happy hunting. Bye-bye.